You're now listening to Chaos Culture Radio. I'll be your host, Hakeem Bello. You can catch us on themediabums.com. For you fools who don't listen, THEMEDIABUMS.com. I came to give you life, culture, and tell you how to grow your money tree. And everything else, holla at me. Yo.
Oh my God, you just messed up the whole recording.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Welcome to Chaos Culture Radio.
Oh, what's up, peoples? I feel like I always say the same thing. What's good to all my melanated folks out there and all the general humans on planet Earth?
We back at it one more time.
Yeah, because we gotta be back at it. Because if we stop, then it's just not gonna work out. So we keeping it consistent.
That's all we can do.
Let the people know what we getting into today.
Today we're talking about, do religions still play a role in society? I think that's a very beautiful topic.
Get into it. Let them know.
I said yes and no. I think for those who believe, it might still play a role. I know it definitely plays a role in black society. You know what I mean? In Hispanic society. I know it plays a role for people who are deep and devout in faith. I know I see many different layers of religion in black society that I see has helped or crippled people. Depending on what you believe in or what you factor in as your beliefs as God, and how God can play a pivotal part in your life, in political, and just as far as social things. You know, the best example I've seen that religion has been the best and benefit for black people is the Nation of Islam. Even though there's a lot of negative stereotypes behind them, but I do know one thing, that they have converted a lot of drug dealers, people who've been gangbangers. You know, Malcolm X himself has been converted through the Nation of Islam, has yet to smoke, drink, or anything. I know a lot of guys who has benefit from them. A lot of these guys becoming entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys give back to the neighborhood. So don't ever believe what people may tell you, and don't ever believe this nonsense that these are anti-Semitic people. Far from that. You know what I mean? You have to not listen to the propaganda of media. But what I've seen they done in the hood, in the ghettos, I've seen this for myself. Not only in down south, and in out of state, in Boston, where they're very, very instrumental in the neighborhood. I've seen them went to jails to go help people get their GEDs, to get these brothers on. That's why I've seen religion that's worked very pivotal, and I would love to work with some of them. There is a podcaster two podcasters by, one of the name of Brother Ben X, another one 19 Keys, and Rizza Islam. They are the new generation of baby Nation of Islam with a more of an urban swang to it, still with the same message. They're not with the suits. They got the hoodies, the jackets, but the message is still the same, and they are influencing young people to do better in life.
Yeah. I actually was just watching IG Live last night, and 19 Keys was on the IG Live, chiming in on, Nipsey Hussle. I keep mentioning his name because, of course, we just lost his brother who was trying to do something positive in his community. I think, for me, when I hear the word religion, I kind of get turned off by it, just because historically when you hear that word, you just immediately think of something used to control people, to control them in a way where it's like
facts,
control them and how they think and what they're going to do. And, and I feel like for me, I'm more connected to the word spirituality. I think it's beautiful. I think it's something that has to do more with the individual. But I see how organized religion has benefited me, myself, as well. Grew up Catholic, going to Saturday school, learning the 10 Commandments, learning a lot of that stuff, like in hindsight, I feel like it definitely built a foundation for me to just have respect in myself and fear something bigger than myself. Knowing that, if I do the wrong thing, I will be, there are consequences to my actions. So I feel like it definitely instilled some sort of boundaries for me growing up, and it steered my mind to not do certain things because I knew at the end of the day, hey, I'm going to have to account for what I've done. But at the same time, I think I had to redefine religion or my own spirituality for myself so that I can grow as a person. Because at some point as a young person, if you grew up in the church or you grew up in a certain spirituality, the world, now you had to interact with the world. And for some people, they realize like, hey, everything I learned in church or in my spirituality or my religion conflicts with what the world is showing me. So how do I grow or how do I evolve with what I've learned from my religious background with how the world is constructed? How do you grow? How do you approach it? You know what I'm saying? How do people approach it when they're trying to question? They're starting to question things and say, okay, these things were right, but I'm also seeing that some things are not aligning, with my spirit. How do you think someone should approach religion or spirituality?
Me personally, I just from a personal experience, and I just want to make this thing clear for the viewers who don't know this. I'm Haitian. My mother's from a third world country. In that country, they believe in Catholicism. That's the main religion there. You know what I mean? It's a part of Christianity. So the thing I'm trying to say is, as I got older, I went to church with my mom. You are the religion that your parents want you to be, for the most part. So I was a Catholic. I went to Sunday school. I practiced. I did my full communion, everything you can think of. But as I got older, we converted to Christianity. And as I got older from there, within my 20s, after I got in trouble, I've been arrested before. For people who don't know, I'm going to let you know this. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I jumped off the porch early. So when I got in jail, I was introduced to the Nation of Islam, which most brothers get introduced. Like 80% at times. The other 20 is on the street. But I was fascinated by that. Because the thing is, this was a religion that best described me as a person. That, I was seeing nothing but people that looked like me who was talking about issues that I was going through. And they had valid answers for what I'm looking for. So I approached religion in that way. Coming from following my mom, then coming from finding religion on my own later on. I do classify myself as being spiritual, but if I was to die tomorrow, I would want somebody to bury me like a Muslim.
That's kind of deep. I like what you said because I find that in what you just said, you had to find some sort of religion or spirituality that felt you connected with. That you felt like you heard yourself in that. You felt like you saw yourself in it. And that's the beauty of being able to decide for yourself. I feel like, if I get an opportunity to have a child or bring kids into this world, because when I was younger, I was like, hell no, this world is crazy. There's a lot of craziness going on. I would not want to bring another human into this world. But if I got a chance to, I feel like I would definitely want to just give them knowledge of self. I would like them to know about certain things and just let them, but I also want to give them the opportunity to decide what are they connecting with, as long as it's not hurt, they're not hurting anyone, they're not hurting themselves, and they're being true to themselves. I would like them to, because I understand that, especially as black people, we've been, a lot of us have been raised into Christianity, Baptist, raised as Baptist, raised as,
Protestant,
all these different, and the one thing that I realize about us as black people is that the things that we're worshiping don't look like us. And I think that's where the disconnect is and the confusion is, because it's like, if I'm looking at Mary, why doesn't she look like me? You know, so now there's this connect with who do I worship? You know, what do I worship? I had to ask those questions. When I look at Jesus and he's a man with long blonde hair and blue eyes, there's something that I feel like that's underlining that's going on, you know. And if we go back to historically, you know, when the Native Americans, when you see missionaries are going into these small towns, these small, you know, the native land, and they're going there saying like, hey, we have a Bible, but then they're going there and raping the Indian women. They're telling them they can't worship the way they want to. They're telling them they can't speak their native language. They're telling them they can't wear their beads, their colors, their this and that. Now I'm starting to have an issue with how this religion that I've used to look at as holy, how can someone use that same religion to hurt another person? And that's the part where I get very, you know, it's just like, it doesn't sit well with me. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not telling people what to do, but I know that spirituality is a very personal thing. But I know for me, definitely I resonate when you say with you're finding spirituality or you're finding a religion where you find yourself in it, and you're finding that they're talking about topics that you needed to hear another black man who was spiritual say, hey, this is how I approach my spirituality. And that gave you the inspiration to be like, wow, that's different. Like I can have a different way of thinking and being. I don't have to think like this one way that, you know, this one, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think that's kind of, you know, I definitely think that's fascinating with.
No, 100%. I you know, I mean, another thing is too, is just a lot of it is just tribalism at the end of the day, you know. Just tribalism, people just following people like sheep, you know what I mean? And I've always tried to put my best forward in, but I do know the importance of belonging to a group. Same thing with like hunter-gatherers. That's why people flock to religion so much. They need something to follow. But the thing about it is, at the end of the day, we want people to have their own mindset. And you take whatever you hear from different religions to see what makes sense to you. Just like from the perspective of an atheist. You know what I mean? They have a different perspective on life and stuff like that. And religion has played a intricate part for them. You know what I mean? But then I also want to put this point out. And this is not to offend nobody. And I'm talking about, I'm only speaking for black people. I don't know about other races. You know what I mean? I want to speak for the historical events of black people. If we was to trace back 1800, you know what I mean? 1800 years ago, within the wake of slavery, before slavery, I've always asked people this: what was Africans practicing at that time? Now, statistically, in that era, in that region, people was practicing voodoo, or what they might call Yoruba religion, which people might call voodoo. That was our original religion. Within that era, if a lot of us are descendants of West African slaves, that was this. Christianity was introduced to us as we got into the Americas. So this is why I'm telling people, religion is introduced to people in many ways. Just the same thing like this. Just like somebody said, hey, come smoke a sack with me. You ain't never smoked weed before. They introduced a sack of weed before. It's up to you to take it. But I think if we go back to our original selves, or you go to where you feel more connected to, you'll get a better understanding of who you are as a person.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, when we strip away everything in society, you know, job, house, you know, we go back to the jungles. I think we go back to just worshiping nature and being nature, you know, and being one with the sun. You know, some people will say, you know, when they talk about the Holy Spirit, the Son, what is it? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They say the Son, they're literally talking about the sun, the actual sun, because the sun itself, the heat from the sun, is what awakens everything every day. and we pray for the sun to come up. Imagine no sun means no life, so it's metaphorical in that way too, and I'm someone who likes to meditate, and when I can, I like to get out in the woods or go out in nature, and you really see the beauty and the simplicity and the complexity of how life naturally is. To be able to appreciate it, for me, I feel like that is you're going back to oneness. Even just going to the beach and looking at the ocean, I have an appreciation for the ocean, because I'm like, oh my God, this thing could also, as powerful as it is, as beautiful as it is, I can also drown in it, but the ocean is life. It's water. When you think about the womb and where a baby is formed in, the woman's stomach is like an earth, and that water and the baby incubates in there. So we have this relationship naturally to water and nature and air. We need these things, and to me, that in a way, I feel like that could have been the origins of the original.
Yeah, definitely.
Without word, without rules, it's just knowing the law of actual nature.
No, definitely. So one point that I want to put in my last point is to, to speak on the narrative and the topic we talking about. Religion does play a major factor in everybody's lives, who is a believer or non-believers. Mm-hmm. The reason why President Trump got elected, because religious fanatics within the South, past the Bible Belt, believed in what he believed in and the cause, and they used religion as a factor to voted him in. Same thing with a lot of black religious leaders, or how they go about doing things. You know what I mean? So it does play a big factor. The point is, where do you stand on the fence of things? You know what I mean? If you are a Nation of Islam, you're taught to love yourself and you're taught to better the movement of your people. If you are a Christian, they teach you to love everybody and turn the other cheek. But if you are an independent or person whose spirituality, you're talking about elevating one's mind state. So it's all depending on what do you believe in and the ideology that follows behind it.
I think I take in a little bit of, I'm not going to say a little bit of everything because that sounds a little crazy, but I feel like over the past couple years, I definitely gravitated towards Buddhism, being like the tree, very poetic, and just the beauty of being one and knowing that everything is one. We are all one. The same life force goes through everything, flows through the trees, through the lizard, through the bird that chirps in the morning, through the sun, through the, you know what I mean? And that beauty, because I'm a person who's very like visual, and I'm a very sensitive person. I think that for some reason I was able to find peace and connect with just some of the beautiful quotes and things. Because, the word inspires people too. Like, it's just like you can find certain verses in the Bible and it might calm you down. Or the Psalms, when you read Psalms in the Bible, there's certain words that you read and you're like, wow, you just feel like your mind is liberated. That's the type of things that I like to, engage myself in, things that make me feel free, a spirituality that will allow me to be free without feeling like chastised, or like, I understand at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for your actions and the person you are in this life. But I think the main goal is liberation. Being in the skin that has been, enslaved or mistreated, being black, the struggle has been so real. So I think at the end of the day, I'm just seeking liberation, in the mind. And from there, when you free in your mind and you're capable, and that, you are the world, you are everything and everything is you, I feel like then that's a whole nother level. But I'm getting a little too deep, a little too philosophical for you people. So, you just got to figure it out for yourself. Mm-hmm. Think for yourself, people.
And most definitely. And my last point on this is, don't ever feel offended for what you believe in and where do you stand at. Your upbringings, your race, your nationality defines who you are so far as your religion. Even though it defines you, you have to answer the question to yourself, how do you going to let this define who you are and where it's going to take it to? And that's pretty much it, what I got to say on that.
Yeah, for sure. And my last point, though, is, I feel like we're all in the school of life, and we're here to learn. So whatever you decide, there's always an opportunity for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to evolve, and for you to figure it out. As long as you're breathing, you have another day to figure out who you want to be and how you want to be it. You feel me? So I'm going to leave y'all with all that peace and love and all that good stuff. Till next time.
Till next time. Holla at us, Chaos Culture Radio. Every week, we're going to drop something hot to y'all. Support us. Support us. Support us.
Get them likes, drop them likes, do them comments.
Man, I just appreciate y'all just listening. Stay tuned for the next episode.